Hello everybody, and welcome to this week's Feature Friday. I believe this is number 7 we are on. How is everybody doing this week? Hopefully you're doing pretty well. Do I sound different? If I do, it's because I'm actually using a new microphone right now. My old microphone kind of broke. Well, it still kind of works, it's just you have to, use something to force the cable into the right angle. It's weird. So I'm using this thing here, which I picked up from Amazon for $40, which was pretty freaking good. And as you can tell, especially if I get close to it, the quality on this is just really good in comparison to what I had before. This is what I'm going to be using sort of from now on in perpetuity, unless anybody has any complaints, which I don't know why you would. Let's take a look at Quaternion. So this is Quaternion. You'll notice it doesn't look that different right off the bat, but let's open up the level. We still get a lot of lag when this level loads. I think you were able to view that last week. As I've possibly explained by now, this lag is due to the fact that it has to do all these computations when it loads in the physics files, and what I'm hoping to be able to do is do that asynchronously so that it doesn't just freeze the game. So, StartPad still has no collision. However, you noticed there was a help trigger. Yes, we now have triggers working. Trigger warning. So what this means is, for one thing, we can have help triggers that actually tell you things. And for another thing, there's actually bounds in the level. It's possible to go out of bounds now, guys. Isn't this exciting? Yes. These textures are not the final textures, obviously. These are just the ordinary Marble Blast textures, but with the edges removed. There is a reason for this, which you are about to see. So I mentioned earlier how there are going to be buttons that turn the lights on. Now, obviously, this is a very early prototype of the button. It will not look nearly this bad in the final game. Anyway, so you hit the button to turn on the lights, which does this. Ta-da! We get the edges back. That's going to actually look a heck of a lot cooler in the, oh, I skipped a couple of messages there. I should probably point those out. That's going to look a heck of a lot cooler next week, once the textures actually are different, and we've got a different skybox, the lighting will all be different and a lot cooler. And we might have some basic shader stuff in, meaning I'll try to fake what I eventually want it to look like just using reshade. Obviously, the Platinum shader engine won't be in the game for quite some time until they actually get it finished, which, like I said, could be months. I don't know. Anyway, you can press E to jump. Don't ask about my control scheme. Yes, it's weird. This has been pointed out. There are 4 other switches. Use them to turn on other parts of the level. So yes, you'll need to do some block pushing. We're going to save that section for last. So, you can hear how much work my computer's doing right now to stream this. So over here we have this section, and notice the textures are still off. Or the edges, that is. Now, the edges will be off on the floor as well. I just didn't really have the time to implement that right away, and there are actually a couple of physics issues that would theoretically get caused by that. You'll notice I have collision callbacks from the fact that this box is saying, hello there, 1499, 1532. So yes, collision events and trigger events are fully functional now. They work by using Bullet. If the box looks a bit laggy, like the box itself is only moving at 10 FPS, that isn't a problem with the physics itself. It's just because I'm streaming. It's mostly because I'm streaming. With the added payload of, you can hear how fast my computer's fan is going. In fact, if I turn off, this microphone has a feature where the sounds are louder in front of the microphone than behind it. If I turn that off, you can listen. Yeah, it sounds like we're on an airplane or something because that's how loud my fan is at the moment. Um, I have not really had any issues with the blue screening or anything of the kind though. So, no need to worry. It's just if you're trying to play the game and stream the game and you're using a laptop, it might not be the best frame rate. So we've turned on that switch. Let's get the other ones. Now these switches don't yet reset when you restart the level. That's not really too high a priority at the moment. I mean, yeah, it's something I'll want to get done at some point, but I think at this point the aesthetics count for more because aesthetics for this level will determine a lot as far as aesthetics for the rest of the game are concerned. Is aesthetics singular or plural? I guess there is such a thing as an aesthetic. But it's weird like that. Like mathematics. You'd think it would be plural if aesthetics is plural, but as far as I can tell, it's singular. I mean, I've never heard of a mathematic. Have you ever heard of a mathematic? In fact, it's not even abbreviated to math in Britain. It's abbreviated maths, because there's an S. Yeah. And yes, this is actually the debug build of the game. No need to worry about this. In fact, I don't really think there's too much of a difference between debug and release, at least at this point. Mainly just, well, if you're in debug mode, it has debugging capabilities. But like all the messages you're seeing getting printed out, those would be there in release as well. They're just, temporary things. So yeah. No, too far. Well, whatever. Let's try it anyway, because this will be a little fun challenge. See if I can do this. That's gonna be tricky. Hey! I made it! Pro strats right there. Okay, now then. Let's get out of this section and go on to that section. You can tell because it's the one with the edges still off. In case you're wondering how I just changed the textures, remember that this isn't a diff file, it's a DTS. In a DTS file, you can easily change the textures by using what are called skins. This may be new to some of you. Oh yeah, there's going to be something in the center here once I get around to it. Some sort of finish object. I'm still not sure design-wise exactly what that's going to be yet, so stay tuned. Oh gosh, pane 4. That would just be ridiculous. Three folder has an idea that if I have High Guy make a level, he'll just make pane 4. I do not want to know what that would be like. Okay, so all 4 sections are done, which ordinarily would sort of unlock the end of the level or what have you, but currently it kind of just does nothing. So let's demonstrate something else. Whoa! Out of bounds. So yes, out of bounds works. Wait, what's... Oh, cool. Apparently it comes with console warnings. That's good to know. Yeah, there are a few debug echo things that I'm going to want to remove, like where it says 001 here and then 111. It's about that's actually interesting. That's how the marble is being constrained. You know how when you start you can't move horizontally, you can only move vertically? Well, that's what that vector represents. In fact, I think I can just do, if I do, what is it, BT set factor. So if I set the factor on the marble's body to, say, 001, now I'm limited to movement in the vertical direction. Or if, on the other hand, I set it to 110, now I can only move horizontally. It's sort of like having no gravity, in some ways. Or if I set it to 100, now I'm limited to... well, I'm limited to movement along this axis, but I'm still moving on the other axis just because I had velocity in that direction to begin with. That's the way it works, is it preserves whatever your current velocity is. So, like, now I can't move at all. Now I can move. What happens if I set one of them to 2? I'm curious. Well, that's weird. Set it to 10. Wow! That actually crashed the game. Okay, so fun fact, guys. Apparently, if something goes too quickly, it actually crashes the physics engine, which in turn crashes the game. Yeah, that's fun. So, yeah. Oh gosh, I want to do something really weird now. Just to test and see what'll happen. Well, yeah, I asserted, but that basically... Okay, well, the way it's currently set up, I don't really handle the assert at all. BT set factor. What if I set it to -1? Oh gosh, that is weird. It's like having negative friction, but worse. So what if I set it to like 0.1? Now I'm so slow. That is really interesting that you can just do that arbitrarily. I'd like to see how that's... No! Get back there. I'd like to see how that's implemented. Because that is a bit of a curious thing, you know? Oh, get back. There we go. Now let's have some fun. This is so trippy. Ah, yes. And then you collide with something and it just messes everything up. So yeah, now I'm constrained to the y-axis. That is cool. Of course, I'll have a much more intricate system of constraints later on that actually uses the constraint system that Billet has. So, this level functionality with triggers and all is about all I had to show off for this week. For next week, I'll be doing some, like I said, the aesthetics stuff. So, I guess at this point I'll just ask, are there any questions anybody has? Is there anything you want to see me try in this, for instance? Because you're curious as to what will happen if I do. No? No questions? Wow, this is going to be like the shortest stream ever if there are no questions. But I mean, sometimes that's how it is, right? And again, at this point, I'm still, trying to plan out what all levels will be in the game. So if you have, good ideas for levels, or any ideas for levels, I'll just, weed out the bad ones, I guess. Then by all means, let me know. You can PM me, you can post, you can email me, you can Skype me if you have my Skype. Speaking of Skype... Oh, never mind. I thought I had a Skype message. Pain 4. I would say that's probably not a good level idea, but come to think of it, it would be interesting to have a part of a level that essentially is Pain 4 at some point. Not as, like, an actual thing, but, like, as a hidden egg thing. Not egg, but one of the side quests, so to speak. to give you an example, it would basically be, if you've played V, it would basically be Quaternions doing things the hard way. If you're familiar with doing things the hard way, basically, okay. So in the game V, there are all these trinkets you can get, and they're not necessary for completing the game. They're just sort of little side things that you can do if you want to, unlock stuff. But they're not essential to the main game. So so like in V, one of these trinkets you get at the end of a sequence of rooms, starting with one called "Doing Things the Hard Way." This is notorious. This challenge is notorious within the community because it generally it'll take you about several thousand deaths before you can get it right. Just because it's that oh my gosh, did you see that? That box almost perfectly balanced on its edge. That's cool. Anyway, yeah, it'll generally take you like a few thousand deaths to complete just because it's that hard. But you do eventually progress through, muscle memory and such, and yeah. And so I could have sort of a Pain 4 styled thing in Quaternion if people like that would basically be that sort of thing. Not at all necessary, but if you're going for 100% completion, I guess that's it. It's just something that's there just to be a dick to the people who are going for 100% completion. That's a really weird way to think of it and kind of cynical, I guess, but yeah. I can't wait to see what this is going to look like next week with, texture swaps and all that fun stuff, and maybe some shaders and maybe sound effects and music. Probably music. Don't know whether I'll have any good sound effects ready yet, but yeah, it's going to be awesome, guys. So if you are looking forward to that, be sure to check in for the stream next week. It'll probably be on Friday again. I cannot say for sure. But yeah. Fun stuff. I guess I will end the stream here. I will see you guys all next week. Have a wonderful week. Have a great weekend. And, Quaternion on something. Oh, but before we go, actually, one thing. Oh, the stream's definitely going to be on Thursday or later. It's Friday or Saturday if I can't do Friday is the general rule. But yeah, a couple other little things I should mention. First of all, I am so sorry for not having last week's stream up on YouTube yet. I just kind of lost track of time with that, I guess. I will be sure to do that this weekend. In addition, Marbles the cat hasn't really made an appearance recently, has he? Well, I guess he can at some point. I don't know. But, yeah, that's a little funny joke, I guess. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So, yeah, as I was saying earlier, before I realized I had two other things to mention, thank you all who tuned in. Thank 3 of you. And I will see you next week. Goodbye!